Box a branded company uniform from 2010.
Shred. The reality of branded uniforms getting out into the world, not being worn by one of your employees, is a massive security risk on every level.
Welcome to What a Waste, the podcast that protects you from fines, failures and fallout of poor waste management and gives you clear, simple steps to stay safe, compliant and confident. We're here at Environmental Solutions Newbury and we've seen it all. The last day of an office lease, a skip overflowed in the car park, staff running around throwing things into black bins, and then a gust of wind picks up a confidential paper and suddenly it's flying down the street. Clearances fail because they're rushed. And when they're rushed, mistakes multiply. And once heard of a company finding 40 hard drives in a drawer on the very hour they were meant to be handing back the keys. Today, we turn that chaos into order. I'm Darren Draper, and I'm joined by Gareth Ward. And if you think office moves are stressful, try doing it for a living. Gareth is a man who walks into chaos and brings the calm. He has seen the fires, the lost device, and the stock dumped in ways that would ruin a brand's reputation. He's a safe pair of hands who turns panic into a plan. Welcome, Gareth. You describe yourself as someone who brings order to the madness. What's the absolute strangest thing you've ever discovered left behind in an empty office?
It's a good question. I'll try and explain it in the best way that I can without implementing anyone, but we went to do a clearance once, and on the initial survey, I was taken into one of the partners' offices, and on the back wall, we're talking a decent sized back wall, probably 15 feet across, ceiling height, 8.5 foot plus high, wall to wall shelving. And as I was taken into the room, my contact said, "This is a bit of an issue for all of us. This guy has this particular items on the shelving," and I'm listening to it, and it's all suddenly like, what is this going to be on the shelves? And we walk into the room, and no word of a lie, understand just the volume and how many shelves there are of this, and they were and this is a professional company, and they're full of adult magazines. And he leaves them in the office, and everyone knows about it, and no one really wants to do it. And it was quite funny. It was almost like us clearing those buildings was the opportunity that every member of that team in that company wanted to just get rid of these guys' magazines. And it's wild. He would be spoken to, and it would just be very normal. And I'm sure he was quite a normal chap, but that was wild for me. What happened when we actually got to do the clearance? He cleared them all, and they were all gone. So we didn't have to deal with it in the end. But that's probably the most awkward, weirdest situation I've been in, I think, when it comes to that.
And it's those simple situations that others can judge in the wrong way. And, you know, we leave it behind, and people would think about who am I working with and things like that.
There's lots of stuff to it. I mean, there's the way I look at it, there's two types of office clearance. And you have to be sensitive to it. The first office clearance is amazing. You go into a new office block, you got new furniture and equipment, and everyone's excited. And maybe you've been in an old building, now you're getting into like an ultra modern one, and everything's looking good. The other office clearance is the company's finished. People are losing their jobs, so you have to be sensitive to that. And you have to go into these situations and act accordingly, and act with some sympathy and empathy in these situations, because it can be quite a horrible, daunting thing that we're going into. So again, like with any office clearance, you have to, you're under pressure, it's time sensitive, but it can be and become people sensitive as well. And I think that's important.
Yeah, I really like that. Lead with that empathy, support the people through it. people are losing their roles, losing their jobs, losing their identity at times. And, we have to be wary of that.
Yeah.
And we have to do a professional job because you're there to do a job. But actually that human connection that you can build at that same time is really important.
It's paramount.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first scenario where people are moving into a nice new office. Most of these businesses spend months planning this lovely new office.
Yep.
But then fail to think of the old office until that deadline is drawing nearer.
Yeah. And I think that's standard. And I think in 20 years of the business, I'm not going to see that change. Again, it's something that you just have to be open to, and you have to expect. We are well versed to go into office clearance with an open mind, waiting for that cupboard door to be opened that we were never told about, and then realise we've got a whole server room to clear that we weren't aware of. That's just standard. It's standard that if you're moving into a new place and you want to get it all looking nice and all the rest of it, like, you've already forgotten about the old one. That's done. So what we have to go in is with the attitude that the old place is the most important one, and that's our job. We've always got tight timescales that we're working to. We're always going to have a spanner thrown in the works. You just have to expect it, the unexpected, react, and deliver it for your client, because the ramifications if we don't deliver it are extreme.
It's like moving house and packing up and boxing everything in an hour, isn't it?
Who wants to do it? That's the thing. And it's, I think from our point of view, if you go to clear your own house, it'll probably take you, 10 times as long to do it, because you're just doing it. You've suddenly found something and you're like, oh, I missed that. I didn't see that. Oh, I'll keep that. Oh, and then you find a photo album, and before you know it, you've not done anything that day. This is where, like, we can come in with that attitude of, once we're there, we're made sure everything that's needs to be taken is gone, so we can just go in and clear. And because we're able to go in with that foresight and attitude, it makes things happen a lot quicker and a lot better. And that's why we deliver them on time. That's why we have the success rates that we do.
So if you're sweating listening to this because you have a clearance coming up, don't worry. The webinar, the Smart Office Clearance System, walks you through how to plan properly, avoid overspend, and protect your data. To find out more details, go to eswm.org.uk/water waste. So Gareth, let's talk about the real cost. It's not just the van hire, but the hidden costs. So you've said that clearances are where data exposure happens most because everything is moving at once. Why is a moving office more dangerous than a static one?
Well, I think it's the reality of something that is static, something that you're used to. You know, you've got all the controls, you've got everything in place, you're in there, you're actively working. Like when we go back to processes, everyone's clear, they're used to that building. As soon as they start to come away from that, then this is when things change. So things will get packed up and not necessarily unpacked. And where has that gone? Did that moving crate have 6 laptops in it? Where's it gone? Where is it? That's, I think, a common problem that happens, is that you'll see a transition between new items coming in, they're superseding the old items, what's happened to the old items. So one of the key things that we have to do, like I said, is just really confirm with the client what is staying, what is going. You'll be amazed at what stuff comes out of cupboards and back rooms and all the rest of it. We'll find like brand new monitors that haven't even been opened. So like, with the best will in the world, recycling of those is well down the line. So we need to look at reutilizing them. So in that instance, with the permission of the client, we'll go into one of our local school contacts. We'll be like, do you want 20 brand new monitors that have never been used, still boxed? And the schools are like, yes, please, we'll have them. It's a great story for our clients, because they'll get a letter thanking them from the school. And again, going into like the ESG stuff that we'll touch on in later episodes, that is really hitting their social element of the S in the ESG. You know, it's giving them an opportunity to connect with their community, which otherwise they may not have had. We have the inroads into all of them with the stuff that we do with the education charities in the local area. We know all the schools personally. So that's our way of reutilising that, minimising the waste impact. And like from the client's point of view, they didn't even know they had them. They've got new ones anyway. They're not going to use them. We save them a cost of disposal because it's a hazardous waste disposing of monitors. So if you don't have to dispose of them, great. If they're brand new, they're obviously got life in them. So like, why not reuse them?
And we talked right at the start about those 40 hard drives found in that cupboard. On a previous episode, we've talked about data waste management.
Yeah.
Can you highlight the risk of 40 hard drives being left behind?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's multipliers here. So, I mean, one hard drive laying around, I don't know how long the 40 hard drives would have been staying there, but like it's usual that when we're doing a clearance, certainly at the survey element, there'll be a locked door. Yeah. Some locked door, no one knows where the key is, there's something in there, and it will always be conscious of us. We'll bear it in mind, we'll know as we start to work through the clearance, we know we've got this locked door that we need to access. On this occasion, once we got the door opened, which was literally handover to the client, ready to hand back to landlord, let's go. What about this cupboard that's not open? They managed to find the key at that point, opened it up, and there you go, archive box full of hard drives that someone had obviously stored there, secure. But what are the ramifications if they had just left them there? This is where we start to get into areas of breaches of confidentiality and all sorts of stuff. So again, we are there to give them that safety net. That's what we're doing. If there's a locked door in an office, I'm not handing over that office until that door's open. And even if it comes to the point we need to get a locksmith out to break and open that door up. But you may open it and there's nothing in there. Fantastic. But just in case there isn't, and in this case, 99 times 100, fine, no problem. But on this one, what else could it have been? It could have been a cupboard full of cleaning chemicals from the cleaners that if you're in the position of leaving it with a landlord and then the landlord's going to charge you, you're talking quadruple costs straight away. I mean, it's a blank check. It'll charge you whatever you want. And that's, again, what we need to avoid for our clients is the minimal amount of stress on that handover bit. Obviously, yes, they're in the new office, everything is good, but we don't want to leave that nasty taste in their mouth from the last place for sure. And that's the goal.
It's a prime example of cheap and fast can very quickly become expensive and slow.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like you say, going back to your point on rushing, I think that is it. It's an afterthought. Oh, get out of the old building. And it can be. And that's not a problem. I have no issue with that. We provide a service to our clients and that's what we do. But it's to reassure the clients that there is that safety net there. That's how we operate. We can talk them through how to do their initial preparations to get ready for clearance, but that would be one of the key bits.
Brilliant. Look, it's easy to miss things when you're stressed. So if you're unsure where to start, visit eswm.org.uk/what-a-waste. Gareth can do a free clearance assessment, walking your site and spotting those risks and building a simple plan so nothing gets missed. Gareth, every office has a cupboard of doom, the one no one's opened since 2015. And I want to play a game. I'm going to name an item and you tell me keep, shred or hazardous.
Okay.
So a box of branded company uniform from 2010.
Shred.
And why?
The reality of branded uniforms getting out into the world, not being worn by one of your employees, is a massive security risk on every level. You would be surprised at what power a uniform can give a person. You know, you walk into a place in a police uniform. No one's going to assume you're dressed as a policeman. They're going to assume you are a policeman until you do something that, from an action point of view, that goes against that. But that's the power of a uniform. So if you have even a cleaner's, imagine your cleaner's uniform got out. Cleaners can change quite a lot. They use temporary workers, agency workers. So you would expect to see a different face. So someone turns up with their cleaning polo shirt on, accesses your secure building, starts walking around with nobody even in the office, other than maybe security at the front desk. But cleaners are trusted to go around and do the job that they need to do. And then it turns out that person wearing the cleaning outfit is like a fully fledged criminal. And you've just given them full access to your building. And they're not only taking laptops and all the rest of it, but what are they taking with that? They want easy, quick wins, but it's the knock-on effect. So maybe they want to steal a laptop, because for them, they can sell a laptop easy on eBay. But like the hard drive, what are they going to do with that? How much is that worth to them? How much can they, and who friends do they know that are hackers, that are into that sort of stuff? You don't even need to be a computer science master's degree qualified person to hack it. Free software will get you in there, and that's it. So that's the power of uniform. Shred every day of the week. Shred.
Yeah. And it was one of the first things I was really surprised the first time I came here in environmental solutions was your shredder for uniform.
Yeah.
And that was the first question I asked. Why?
Yeah. You'll be surprised. Funnily enough, we set up a new account for a major British manufacturer last week to do exactly that, destroying their branded kit. So they'll have their own reasons for it. To me, it's very simple. I wouldn't want anyone wearing any of our kit. It'd be the same thing. But that is probably now, go back 30 years, didn't hear of it. Now, more and more now, people are coming to us. We don't want our brand getting out in any way, shape or form. And that's what it is.
Definitely. So the second one, a stack of Employee of the Month plaques.
A stack of Employee of the Month plaques. Well, it would firstly, I'd find out what those plaques are made of and whether they are, if there's any recycling elements of it. You have got, I would treat those as company confidential. They are for internal communications. I wouldn't want them personally getting out for any reason. And it probably wouldn't be like, the crazy data fraud, personal fraud, identity fraud type of thing. It would probably be more so for the respect of my own staff and having that out. And I wouldn't want photographs or anything of any of clients sent in to us to go out. So I would say you do the same thing. That would be a shred.
Okay. Half-used chemicals found under a sink.
Half-used chemicals found under a sink. So you need to find the SDS sheets for them first. Safety data sheets is a key element for them. So you would get those, and you wouldn't want to, obviously, do not shred, do not open, do not pour on yourself. You need to collate those into an area. You need to check what hazards on there. Are they flammable? Do they need to be stored in a flammable cupboard? Can they be stored with other waste? So you can have issues sometimes where you have two types of hazardous waste that can't be stored with each other because one will react with the other. So again, this comes back to awareness training. This is why we do the awareness training, because there's so many things and bits and bobs that the people have to learn. So again, you make it easy by making it specific. People tend to use the same chemicals, substances day in, day out. So you work on them, and then you create a safety working, safe systems will work for those stuff, right? And awareness training for it. From a disposal point of view, anything on that bottle that has a cross, that has a fire sign on it, that has anything that stands out. The hazards are normally anything in red and orange. So keep your eye out. If something's got that on there, then that's your first little red flag on it. And then they would all be collated together. You phone up a waste management professional like Environmental Solutions, and then we come out, price it up, and get rid of that and dispose of it properly.
And lastly, something that I think is found in every household as well as every business is that box or cupboard of cables that we don't really know what to do with anymore.
Mm-hmm. First off, I'm impressed if they're in a box. and not just like self-wrapped them around everything that's in that cupboard. Secondly, really easy recyclable. Don't hoard. That can be recycled. If you take those cables and you've got enough of them, you take them to a metal recycling place yourself and transport it, all the rest of it. They might even give you a couple of quid back for it.
Brilliant. Thank you. And if you'd like to learn more, visit eswm.org.uk/what a waste and how Gareth and the team at Environmental Solutions can further support you. So we know the risks, we know the items, but how does Environmental Solutions actually fix this in a busy site?
It's a good question. I have to understand the site. It's one of the first key bits of it. I want to know what people are doing, what is happening in certain areas. I want to know why they're busy. I want to know within that busy, does it mean that there is no time for everything? It's normally the case. I mean, if you think about it, a company is normally already working at its most efficient level, or at least trying to do that. As a business, if you then come in and start saying to people, oh, you're going to have to do this extra, you're going to have to do that, you can gauge pretty quickly if there's capacity within that company to do that. Most of them haven't got it. So what you're trying to do is create something, a system that will just slip in with what they're currently doing and essentially improve efficiencies. So, we have this thing around here that a minute waste, a minute saved. You extrapolate that over the course of a year, it's serious minutes, isn't it? That's 1 minute. So if I can save someone 1 minute by not having wasted time deciding on what bin something needs to go on because we've delivered awareness training, because we've brought on their environmental team, because we've produced documents so that our client can refer back to if they need to do refresher training and what have you. If I've done all those bits and they are all well cleared up and clear on the processes and all the rest of it, then I can save them that minute. And if they've got 200 employees, I can save them 200 minutes. And that's in a day, technically. So then this is what we're talking. A lot of the stuff that we do, a lot of the efficiencies, the processes and stuff that we do often go kind of unseen. It sounds silly, but that's the goal. Like it shouldn't change stuff. There may be a case we go in and I'll be looking at a process they do and I'm like, this is crazy. We need to stop and we need to do it in a different way. But that's very rare. Most of the time it is just understanding what roles each person, each department has got to do and really just giving them tools to just keep going. So like, for example, you're working at a production line, you are producing a little bit of printed circuit board offcuts. Now, your production line has to be like very clean and clear and all the rest of it, but your bin is 10 meters away from where you're sat. So like straight away, you just look at efficiencies. I want people to stay where they are. If they're only producing printed circuit boards and maybe there's 4 people at that worktop and they're all producing offcuts of printed circuit boards, then the clever thing would be to put a bin next to everyone. Like I would endorse that and I would promote that. I want to keep that person at their workstation doing what they need to do and then hopefully facilitating that and making it even better.
So this is process improvement. This is what businesses do every single day when they look at their internal processes, and office clearances should be treated in the same way.
Yeah, I think that's the reality with this industry because it is still relatively new and there's stuff coming through on it. I think there is there's a split mindset on it. Some people love it and are for it. Other people see it as something that's just going to get in the way and stop them doing something similar to be what health and safety would have had when it first started coming in. And people are like, oh, it's annoying. I've got to do this way now. Blooming heck. Yeah, but Dave, you're going home with both of your arms tonight. Brilliant. Dave needs both arms. It's things like that. So you'll never get the thanks or the pat on the back for saving Dave's arms, but Dave's still got his arms. Yeah. And I think that's the bit. If there would be like an unsung hero and we're fine, we'll just do it and then deliver it and then client's happy. That's how it works, I think.
Fantastic. And I guess the right process is that's when the minimisation of those risks happen, where we don't leave the hard drive, where we don't leave paperwork left behind, or there's all of the doors open to make sure all the chemicals are removed.
So it's really easy, I think, to go on the don'ts. But what and how are we going to deliver the do's?
Yeah.
And I think that's the key, if there's a key to it. We're dealing with human psychology here. And again, because it's waste management, people won't necessarily attribute that to it. But people are our main customers here, and they are our main source of contamination and pollution. So that should be where we're directed, shouldn't it? That should be where the awareness training is. That should be where the accountability is. That should be where making sure people are doing their job for their own personal safety. Environment is obviously one, we're looking after that, but there is an element of keeping them safe as well. Again, Dave with his 2 arms. We want Dave to have 2 arms. We want Julie to be able to breathe properly from not inhaling whatever it is that they're dealing with, and make sure that is protected and disposed of properly, so it doesn't have another knock-on impact to somebody else. This is where you have issues with a lot of our electronic waste. Some companies will send it out to Africa. And then you see the horror videos. You see the children working on the waste, and they are burning the insulation off the cable because they want the copper, and that insulation is melting and burning onto their hands. And then the fumes that are coming off burning that. Because don't forget, this is electronic industry. There is substances in that to withstand heat. As soon as you start adding elements to materials to be able to protect it against higher sorts of heat, I guarantee the majority of those are dangerous and nasty things that you do not want to be burning and you do not want to be inhaling the smoke from. And that is, again, comes down to duty of care. Do our customers, do the UK businesses out there really, truly know where their waste is going?
So if you're looking to protect your employees, protect the environment, and to protect your reputation, go to eswm.org.uk/waterwaste and find out what Gareth and his team can do to support your office moves. So Gareth, let's save the office manager some sleep. Let's give them a plan. What 3 steps could they do or put into action today that will support them?
They need to empower staff to clear their own desks. It's got to be the first point. Get them to clear the desk. That will save them lots of time, money when it comes to us doing the clearance. The second bit is to plan with us. So we will walk round and make sure they know what's going, make sure they know what's staying, make sure that they have the right people in place to help deliver what needs to be done. And then the third thing I would say, really and truly, just call us. And then we'll go in and do all of that. We'll do the site survey for them. We'll put the price together for them. We'll break it down into phases and stages of how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost, and just really alleviate the stress for them and just make the whole experience simple and straightforward.
Gareth, thank you for tidying up our mess. And if you're looking to find some more information around office moves or any other waste management solutions, go to eswm.org.uk/waterwaste and join us next time.